Hi guys, and welcome back to another Dot Race video, and today we're going to be playing MotoGP 21, continuing on with our Moto2 World Championship, and it's round 5 here in Jerez. So starting in pole position is Bo Benschneider with Grant and Schrotter on the front row, Roberts, Beaubier and Dixon on the second, Arbolino, Ramirez, Corsi, Lowe's, Di Gianantonio Agura, Fernandez, Navarro, Fernandez, Bezzecchi, Vieje, Garso, Gardner, Vietti, Baldassari, Canet, Manzi, Arenas, Dalla Porta, Buliga, Luti, Cyrene, Montala, Chantra, and Barry Baltus at the back of this Spanish Grand Prix. So we now look to the lights. Bo Benschneider is in pole position, Grant in second, and away we go! Decent start for the Petronas SRT Kalex as Benschneider dives up in front of Grant there, cutting his nose off before we even got into turn 1, but Benschneider looks like he will take the whole shot going into turn 1. Grant is right there, but he doesn't have the speed to dive up at the inside, and the man ahead of him, the Dutchman, doing everything he can to make sure he took the whole shot and is now leading this Grand Prix as there's been a couple of crashes behind us. The yellow flags are out. Of course, that doesn't really affect us too much in the video game, but in real life that would mean no overtaking allowed. But the Dutchman is into the lead, and I do believe that is the first time he has led a Grand Prix this particular season, so great job for the long and lanky Dutchman. Wonderful job from Bo Benschneider, qualifying in pole position and now taking the whole shot and already developing a 0.3 of a second lead to Matt Grant. Now the world champion in Moto 3 is charging here up into the Dani Pedrosa corner, right on the cue of chasing down Bo Benschneider. We're no stranger to chasing any rider down and putting on pressure. Of course, the last time we won, last race out in Portimao, we did manage to take the victory by forcing Remy Gardner into a mistake in the latter stages of the Grand Prix. But now going into Jorge Martinez Aspar, we'll have Angel Nieto corner for turn 9 and then Pelequi for turn 10. I do feel that we are quite strong around this particular section of track, so as long as we continue to push forward in this sort of sector, we should be right on the rear of Bo Benschneider. Now onto the right hand side for Crivier, and then once again in a moment for Ferrari for another nice tight right-hander, getting right onto the rear of Bo Benschneider. This could be a lunge coming in from Grant right now, but he does hang back just a brief moment. There isn't really a necessity to go ahead of him straight away. I'm quite happy with Bo Benschneider leading the Grand Prix, us just following him, saving a bit of tyre life, saving a bit of fuel, and just utilising his slipstream. In other words, getting Bo Benschneider to do the donkey work. It's a cloudy day here in Jerez, so the tyres should last all the way through. That's why I did opt for the soft option front. I have felt very confident on the soft option front, however, it does disintegrate rather quickly, especially last time out in Portimao in those really record high temperatures. The front tyre took an absolute pounding. Hopefully it won't be the same story here today in the Spanish GP. Now we're going on to the right hand side for the difficult but somewhat nice smooth right-hander of Cito Pons for turn 5. Go for a nice tight apex there and pick up the bike early to get right onto the slipstream of Bo Benschneider, going around the outside, potentially up into a lunge in potentially turn 6, but not quite. Don't quite have the confidence as much as Bo Benschneider does right now. It certainly looks like his Kalex is suited very much so for the hard braking zones. Where's so much the gentle and gradual braker? It's something I've always tended to do. Not so much an abrupt brake. I do like to sort of brake smoothly and calmly, and I do try and do the same here, especially when utilising a soft option tyre. But we are getting closer and closer to Benschneider, 0.7 of a second gap to Marcel Schrotter and the Moto3 World Champion Matt Grant, so there isn't really any need for panic stations right now. We can concentrate on the Grand Prix, but major props to Benschneider because I'm actually kind of pushing quite hard just to stay within range of Benschneider. It's not like I'm just sitting there and waiting as I make a mistake on the right hand side there for Ferrari. That is our first track limits warning of today's Spanish GP. And we're now going to the left hand side for Jorge Lorenzo corner to conclude lap 2 of 12. And to tell you what, Benschneider's acceleration out of the corners is far more superior than ours. Benschneider is currently the fastest man on track right now with a 1:42.835, which obviously makes perfect sense since he is only the man who's been leading this Grand Prix as things stand. We're now going to the difficult right-hander, the innocuous corner of Michelin for turn 2. Then we'll flick it on the left-hand side to chuck it once again in for turn 3. Be very careful coming out of that corner. Of course, you don't want to do what happened to Marquez just last year. Big incident which rendered him inactive for an entire year. Certainly don't want to be falling foul to the same issue in turn 3. Now coming out to Cito Pons, going to get onto the rumble strip here a little bit. And we've mentioned this before and I'm going to mention it again, The rumble strips are rather aggressive on MotoGP 21, so do be careful if you do end up getting onto the sort of chunky part of the rumble strip and start seeing your bike wibble and wobble and get thrown around like jelly on the plate. Do be very, very careful on those rumble strips. We're now going to turn 7, getting closer and closer to the rider ahead of us. We are up by 0.5 of a second. We're on a cracking lap as things are materialising right now. We're into the Jorge Martinez Aspar, nowhere near Ben Schneider for a potential lunge, but getting closer and closer without utilising too much tyre life is key, and already the soft front is taking a hounding. The right and left hand side of those front tyres aren't looking too good. We're going to have to do everything we can to make sure that we don't fall foul to the tyre life once again. I'm not sure why I keep... but never mind, I'll get back to it in a minute as we dive over the insiders. Not quite. Have we got the line? Going into turn 13. Beautifully done, but Ben Schneider has that superior speed. How has he got his Calyx set up to accelerate out the corners that blooming quick? That's brilliant stuff from Ben Schneider, but we are into the lead very temporarily as Ben Schneider puts his Calyx back in front of the Petronas SRT rider. Matt Grant did indeed set the fast lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:42.602 as we attempt to go around the outside for Michelin. Is that going to work? Do we have the cut back on the inside for turn 3? Not quite. Oh, I was trying to avoid him. I was trying to avoid going onto the actual track there and cutting Ben Schneider's nose off, and I accidentally touched the inside of the line, giving myself another track limit warning. That is frustrating. Oh my goodness, and every time we go hard on the brakes for any of the particular right-handers or left-handers, we lose so much tyre life. The degradation on that front tyre already is looking extremely bleak as Ben Schneider gets a little bit out of shape. Diving up in the inside, looks like he's running a hard option rear. Probably should have done something very similar. I thought it'd be okay to run a soft front today. The temperature's quite cool, it looked fine, but it looks like the soft option might have been a big mistake again. I do feel ever so confident in the early stages with the soft tyre, which obviously makes sense. We might be able to lunge him up here into the inside for Jorge Martinez Aspar. I'll tell you what, it's going to be a good move. Oh, that's a great move up into the inside of Angel Nieto corner. Can the Dutchman fight back on the Moto3 World Champion? It doesn't look like he's going to be able to do it. I'll tell you what, Grant had to do that. He was losing too much time to Ben Schneider, and he was also losing too much tyre life by trying to stay within him. So I think that's a brilliant move, a really smart, calculated manoeuvre up onto the inside just after Jorge Martinez Aspar right into turn 9 for the Angel Nieto corner. Not a common overtaking zone, but it does happen, and I'm quite pleased to see that we got it done in that particular corner. Of course, the usual favourites of mine is the turn 13 and even into dry sack, but I don't quite have the confidence here today on the front end, especially not with the soft tyre looking like that. So we are developing a small gap to Bo Ben Schneider right now. 0.2 of a second, make it 0.3 of a second, make it half a second just briefly into turn 3 there, as we now go into the left hand side for turn 4. We will have Cito Pons in a minute. I do feel that's a great opportunity for us to sort of pick up the bike early, chuck it into power setting 3 and just release the throttle. We could see what happens as Ben Schneider is right there though. He is getting closer and closer. The gap is back up to 0.3 of a second. We're going to just see what we can do. I think it's time to now get our head down, focus on the Grand Prix, churn out the fast lap times, and somewhat concern ourselves with the tyres and try and focus on that. But it looks like Marcel Schrotter has now just got himself involved, taking advantage of both Ben Schneider, and that's exactly what we wanted. Ben Schneider was extremely quick, and I don't think Marcel Schrotter is carrying the same pace as Bo Ben Schneider is right now in this Grand Prix. Well, quick shout out to my American supporters, Joe Roberts and Cameron Bobier, both in 4th place and 5th place respectively. Very, very close to finish on the podium. Fingers crossed they can get the business done and join us on the podium. Also, shout out to Jake Dixon. And another big mention, I don't see Raul Fernandez and I don't see Remy Gardner in the timing screens on the left-hand side of your screen there, ladies and gentlemen. That could be fantastic for us as far as the championship is concerned. A good victory here today. Back-to-back victories, of course. Don't forget, we only just took our very first victory last time out in Portimao. So if we were to take another one, that would be 2 in 2 races, which would be wonderfully stunning. We're going into turn 1. We do have a nice, comfortable lead, almost 0.4 of a second ahead of Marcel Schrotter. And with the concept of potentially winning another race and giving us more championship points, we really have to get this one done here today. Marcel Schrotter 0.4 of a second behind, not too concerned right now. Focus on the task at hand, keep on churning out the lap times, similar to what we did in Portimao, although we did have a bit of a sort of a panic. We had a little bit of a collapse towards the end of the race, feeling the pressure that Raul Fernandez, Augusto Fernandez and Remy Gardner were pouring in on us. So hopefully we don't buckle again as we take a quick look behind us. Marcel Schrotter is still there. Bo Benschneider not too far behind him. And I think Joe Roberts, and Jake Dixon has now separated the Americans. There's a British sandwich there, or excuse me, an American sandwich, whatever way you look at it. As we go wide into the Dani Pedrosa corner and completely mess up our chances of just sailing home to the victory. Marcel Schrotter is now into the lead by 0.8 of a second, so we have to do all the hard work once again. Bo Benschneider, of course, he was accustomed to doing the donkey work for us, and he's going to be livid to have Grant push past him and try and break away through the lead and then still end up scuppering the chances to Marcel Schrotter anyway. So it seems that Marcel Schrotter is the big winner out of this one so far. Grant and Benschneider have done battle, and now Marcel Schrotter sitting quite pretty at the head of this Grand Prix. He'll be entering Ferrari now, leading this Grand Prix with almost 7 laps remaining of this session. Still got plenty of time to go. No concerns and no worries right now as we go into turn 13. Get the fat part of the tyre hooked up nicely, a little bit wide onto the rumble strip there. And we are looking at a potential 0.9 of a second deficit to the German man just ahead of us on track. We will attempt to chase him down, but championship standings, I don't see Fernandez, I don't see Gardner, I only just see Lowe's in there. Maybe we should be smart about this. I know it's only round 5, and it seems criminal to talk about thinking about the championship, to talk about potentially saving ourselves for it, but it could be wise because Marcel Schrotter, for some reason, just chucked in a rapid pace. I'm going to have another couple of goes at it. If I feel we can get closer and closer to the German man, then we will continue to push forward. I have got a lot of fuel left remaining, so why not chuck in power setting 3, get some slipstream and put some pressure on the Dynavolt Intact GP rider. And I tell you what, this might have worked. We have already closed in as we go into the Dani Pedrosa corner, but the closing in has resulted in a lot of lost tyre wear. Look at the state of that front end now on the soft front. It is not looking good on that right hand side, nor is it looking alright on the left side. The rear is absolutely fantastic. That is lasting very, very well without any issues whatsoever as we do close in right now onto Schrotter. We're getting closer and closer into Angel Nieto. Turn 10, we're getting to Peliquet. Drop it down a gear just to make sure we have that nice acceleration coming out of this corner as we now flick it to the right hand side for the Alex Crivier corner. Turn 11. Little bit tight there. Don't want to be going too tight here again and touching the apex. And I was just about to say and touching the green, because that means a track limit warning, and that's 3 out of 5 track limit warnings for the Moto3 World Champion. Fresh off the victory in Portimao, he really wouldn't want to scupper his chances now by taking a long lap penalty. Across the line we go, and Grant improves. A 1:42.601 is the new quickest lap of the Grand Prix. He was 31,000 of a second quicker than his lap set earlier on lap 4. Now going into turn 2 for Michelin. Nice and tight apex there. Get ready to then flick it onto the left hand side for turn 3. Smooth on the acceleration there because we were running power setting 3, sorry. And when you run power setting 3 into that left-hander, the tyres really struggle to grip, so do be careful on pushing the acceleration a little bit too much. So we now go into the right-hand side for Cito Pons. Might chuck in another bit of power setting 3. I don't want to abuse power setting 3 because I don't want to put us in a situation where we might be running out of fuel. That is a rookie error, and I guess we are a Moto2 rookie, but I certainly don't want to be dropping this race due to fuel issues. I guess it's not been mentioned, but I'm sure you guys are astute enough to notice already, but we are utilising the new Moto2 liveries, the 2021 liveries, so if you have wondered there's something changed and you're not quite sure what it was, it will be that. And I've got to say, I'm super happy to be using the new updated liveries. I do believe a couple of the riders have had a little bit of an update, so some riders should be more competitive, and some riders not so much. Can't say I've seen much of a change here. Bo Benschneider seems to have got an extra boost, and maybe a Marcel Schrotter because he is now leading this Grand Prix, and he's kind of forcing me here. I do feel like I wasn't taking this one as smooth as I wanted to. I'm sort of being forced to chase him down here because he has got a rapid pace right now, Schrotter has. Going into turn 13, we have cut the gap down to 0.4 of a second, but he is rapid coming out of the corners. Both him and Benschneider on those Calyx engines, or at least the Calyx chassis, sorry, with the Triumph engines, are doing a phenomenal job. But once again, Grant sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix, a 1:42.235 for the Moto3 World Champion. He is clawing extra little bits of tenth We are now 2.3 seconds ahead of Bo Benschneider. I do feel Benschneider might have used a bit too much tyre life as we touch the track limit warnings again. I cannot believe we've just done it again. We've just touched the track limits warnings once again, and now we can only make... well, we can't make any mistakes. We make one single mistake now. It's the long lap penalty for the Moto3 World Champion. We have to be good now. We have to be on our best behaviour. We need to make sure we don't cause any issues for ourselves, and neither for Marcel Schrotter. But we will cause one issue as we try and dive over the inside. Oh, I definitely thought about it. I wanted to. I really did. But the confidence on the front end when the tyres like that, is a little bit of contact made there. Touching my Dunlop tyre onto his Dynavolt Intact GP leather. Not too happy is the man who from Germany. His Ixon leather has now been tainted with my Dunlop tyre as we get onto the left hand side for the Jorge Martinez Aspar. Nice tight apex. Hey, I love a long wide apex there. We opt for the tight one and now we're right in with him. Oh, guys and gals, I think we're in for another fantastic Grand Prix. I love this Moto2 career mode, and I hope you guys are enjoying it too, because this could potentially explode. Schrotter versus Grant with 4 laps remaining. It'll be 3 laps in a minute as we cross the line in just a couple more corners to go. Wow, that was too close to touching the green once again, but we now try and brake nice and gentle into the Lorenzo corner for turn 13. We've still not made a single attack on Marcel Schrotter yet, struggling to find a place to overtake him because, no joke, he is doing a phenomenal job right now. This is the AI difficulty I've always wanted in MotoGP. It is competitive, it's difficult, and it's pushing me. It's certainly pushing me. With only 3 laps remaining, I'm getting forced here to really do my best to try and stay with Marcel Schrotter. Of course, the bike has not really been upgraded. I've had a few frame upgrades, but still not quite upgraded the Calyx to where we really need it to be truly competitive. But right now, it doesn't look like we need it because we are right onto the rear of the Liqui Moly Intact Dynavolt Team Rider. I messed up the team name there, but we're getting closer and closer. Could we have a lunge coming out of Cito Pons alongside Marcel Schrotter? Little bit of contact there, a little teeny bit of a touch. I do not like the way the... oh, contact made! Massive contact! Whoa! What on earth was that, Marcel? You can't just ride up the backside. That's ridiculous. I was about to say, before Marcel rudely interrupted, is I don't like the actual size of the hitbox in Moto 2 as Grant Hoth. Oh my goodness, I thought he was going to go for a lunge up on the inside of the German, but maybe that wouldn't have been a smart idea. Can we get in the same spot? We got Benschneider, not quite close enough for the Angel Nieto corner. We might potentially be able to do that if we follow the same wide line they do. Take the wide line, use the slipstream, and then chuck it up on the inside without asking any further questions. But we're now onto the right-hand side for Crivier. Benschneider is totally out of this. This is a 2-man scrap for the victory here in the Spanish GP. Benschneider is 3.9 seconds down as Grant is still eyeing up a potential lunge on Marcel Schrotter. Now, I wasn't expecting Schrotter to go right up the wazoo for turn 6 there. I thought that was a little bit stupid from the German, but he might have made a mistake, so I guess we'll let him off for that one. I've made many mistakes in the past too, and I've bumped to the rider, so we'll let that one slide for now. He didn't look like he was too apologetic about it, though. He dived straight up on the inside and didn't look back, but we'll do everything we can now to try and beat him cleanly without getting involved with too much of a scrap, because my front tyre's probably not going to last another skirmish. Now, this is some serious competition right now. Schrotter is pushing me so much. We're utilising power setting 3 to stay in within the German slipstream, but I tell you what, he is pushing me here. This feels like a proper ding-dong of a battle where we are going to have to truly work for this one. This one feels like it's going to go down right down to the wire. A potential lunge into turn 13 perhaps, but we're going to try and get him onto the brakes going into the Danny Pedrosa corner. Oh, Schrotter gets a little bit out of shape. Are we up into the lead? Have we got the lead? Oh my god, Schrotter with that super brilliant exit speed. Can't be beaten here today. He must have a ton of tyre life left. Much different to the man behind him. The British rider struggling with the front end tyres. Not too bad on the rear, but we can't get it hooked up as well as Schrotter can. Something's holding us back. Potentially might need to drop down the anti-wheelie. Not sure. Maybe we'll try that for the future races and see if we can conjure something up. But right now, Schrotter is impervious. He is battling better than what Remy Gardner did in Qatar. Actually, I'm not sure about that because both men have been just ridiculous in these 2 laps. But right now, it's down to the final lap. And once we cross turn 13 and then go over the timing line, it'll be 1 more lap remaining. The penultimate lap certainly hasn't disappointed. Massive shout out to the American boards once again because Joe Roberts is now featured on the podium. But final lap is upon us. Schrotter leads with only 13 corners to go. Grant onto the right-hand side for turn 1. Plenty of fuel still remaining. Grant has the option here of utilising power setting 3 for the entire lap. Michelin to be navigated. Navigated well. Grant is right onto the rear of Schrotter. Turn 3. Navigated well. Turn 4, can we say the same? I think we can. Will Grant line him up? Careful of touching the green. If we touch the green any more times, it'll be long lap penalty time. Going into Cito Bond, Schrotter ran it a bit deep. Grant's got the speed. Go on, Grant, got the speed. Go on. Oh my goodness. Getting him really, really close now. Power setting 3. Quick look to my left-hand side there to make sure Schrotter isn't going to hit me up the wazoo once again. He's going to go wide. Is he going to go around the outside? If he makes that stick around the outside, I'm going to lose it. Oh, Grant fights back. Brilliantly done. Is that the crucial overtake that we need to sustain Marcel Schrotter's attacks? It's got to come down to turn 13 if we don't develop some sort of advantage, some sort of lead. We are 0.2 of a second quicker than Marcel Schrotter as things stand right now. So it will currently be Grant, Schrotter, Roberts in your podium positions. This is going to be super, super close. But I tell you what, we have done a tremendous job of getting ahead of Schrotter and then chucking in the fast lap times. Can we survive this onslaught from the German? 0.1 of a second separates the Dynavolt intact rider to the Petronas SRT Calyx. Who's it going to be? 0.2 of a second ahead is Grant. I don't think Schotter's going to be close enough. I think we've done it. We've beaten his resolve. Grant is going to do the business here in Jerez. He's done it. Schotter's not even in the slipstream. Ladies and gentlemen, victory number 2 in as many races for the Moto3 World Champion. Another terrific Moto2 victory has come to the way of Grant, and another Grand Prix has come to an end. Grant wins from Marcel Schrotter, and Joe Roberts finishes on the podium with Dixon in 4th place. Quick look at the championship, and that puts Grant just 5 points behind Raul Fernandez, who is leading with 88 points in total. Remy Gardner still in 3rd place, but he trails by 28 points. Quick look at the team championship now. The Red Bull KTM IO outfit still lead by 21 points over the Petronas Sprinter Racing, and a whopping 88 points ahead of Elfmar VDS Racing Team. A fantastic race with a fantastic winner. Grant gets the business done here today in Jerez. And guys, as always, thank you very much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, like, comment and subscribe. It's very, very much appreciated. Hit the notification bell to be alerted to every single Trace upload. And upon that note, guys, thank you for watching. Stay tuned and stay ace for a lot more Trace content. Thanks for watching, guys, and ciao for now. Oh, hi. Didn't quite see you there. Good to see you're still here. If this video didn't quite set your appetite, then why not watch some more Trace content by clicking the video shown on screen now. Furthermore, if you would like to follow me on social media, you can do so now with the links down in the description. Consider subscribing so you don't miss a single Dr. Ace video.